Kindness is your strength, but softness without boundaries will slowly steal your destiny. My dear sisters, you have a beautiful heart, you feel deeply, you care genuinely, you give endlessly. But somewhere along the way, the world taught you a dangerous lie that being a good woman means being a soft woman, always adjusting, always forgiving, always silent. And today, I want to lovingly tell you that softness without strength is not spirituality. It is self-neglect. Softness is beautiful. Sensitivity is sacred. Compassion is divine. But when softness exists without self-respect, it slowly turns into suffering, quiet suffering that nobody notices, not even you. I have met many women who say, "I don't know why life is so hard." And when I listen carefully, I realize life is not heavy. They are carrying too much that was never meant to be theirs. They keep adjusting, they keep understanding, they keep sacrificing, not because they are weak, but because they were never taught how to protect themselves. A river is soft. You can dip your hands into it, you can drink from it, you can sit beside it peacefully, but the same river needs strong banks. Without boundaries, the river does not become kinder, it becomes destructive, it floods villages, it washes away homes, and in the end it loses its own direction. Many women are rivers without banks. They believe that saying no is rude. They believe setting boundaries is selfish. They believe tolerating pain is strength. So they smile when they are hurt. They stay silent when disrespected. They forgive repeatedly, even when nothing changes. And slowly, something inside them starts to collapse. Here is a hard truth spoken with love. People do not mistreat you suddenly. They learn how far they can go. Every time you ignore disrespect, you teach someone that it is acceptable. Every time you over-explain your worth, you lower its value. Every time you stay where you are not honored, you abandon yourself. Self-respect is not ego. Self-respect is alignment. It is the inner voice that says, "I matter too." It is the courage to say, "This does not feel right." It is the strength to walk away even when your heart wants to stay. A woman with self-respect does not become harsh. She becomes selective. She does not argue to be understood. She observes who listens. She does not beg for love. She notices who shows up consistently. She does not prove her worth. She knows it. When self-respect enters your life, something magical happens. Your energy changes. You speak less, but your words carry weight. You tolerate less, but your peace increases. You give less, but your presence becomes valuable. Some people will be confused by this version of you. They will say you've changed. What they really mean is you no longer allow what you once did. And that is growth. Remember, dignity is not loud. It is calm. It is quiet. It does not threaten. It withdraws. When you honor yourself, life responds differently. The right people come closer, the wrong people fall away, not because you push them, but because you stopped pulling them. Never confuse self-respect with pride. Pride says, "I am above you." Self-respect says, "I will not abandon myself for you." And that is not cruelty. That is clarity. You can still be kind. You can still be gentle. But now, your kindness has a spine, because a woman who respects herself teaches the world how to treat her without saying a word. This is where strength truly begins. Let us go a little deeper now, because once self-respect awakens, the next battlefield is inside you. Your emotions are not your enemy. They are messengers. They carry information about what matters to you. But when emotions sit on the throne of your life, wisdom is pushed out. I have seen very sensitive, intelligent women make decisions that hurt them for years, not because they lacked intelligence, but because emotions were driving the steering wheel. A soft woman reacts, a strong woman responds. Reaction is instant. It is impulsive. It is loud inside your head. The response is calm. It is thoughtful. It is rooted in clarity. When someone hurts you, your reaction says, say something now. The response says, pause, observe, choose. When you feel ignored, your reaction says, chase. The response says, watch who is walking away. When you feel insecure, your reaction says, change yourself. The response says, understand yourself. Most emotional pain is not caused by others. It is caused by decisions made while emotions were shouting and wisdom was silent. Anger spoken cannot be taken back. Trust broken emotionally cannot be easily repaired. Words said in emotional storms leave permanent marks. Strength does not mean suppressing emotions. Suppression is dangerous. It explodes later. Strength means regulation. It means feeling deeply, but not drowning. It means acknowledging pain, but not letting pain decide your future. Think of emotions like fire. Fire can cook your food. Fire can also burn your house. The difference is control. A woman who learns to sit with her emotions without obeying them becomes unshakable. She feels sadness, but she doesn't spiral. She feels anger, but she doesn't destroy it. She feels fear, but she doesn't freeze. She pauses, she breathes. She asks herself, what is the wise response here? This pause is power. Most people regret not what they felt, but what they did while feeling it. Emotional discipline is not taught in schools, but it is essential for survival. You don't need to react to every message. You don't need to respond to every provocation. You don't need to explain yourself to every misunderstanding. Silence, when chosen consciously, is maturity. A strong woman understands this truth. Not every emotion deserves expression. Some deserve understanding, some deserve release, some deserve prayer, some deserve distance. When emotions are unmanaged, people can manipulate you easily. They trigger you, they guilt you, they control you through your feelings. But when you master your emotional world, manipulation loses its grip. You become calm where others panic. You become clear where others confuse. You become steady where others collapse. This does not make you cold, it makes you conscious. Remember, emotional intelligence is not about being emotionless, it is about being intentional. When emotions rise, don't ask, what do I feel like doing? Ask, what is the right thing to do? That one question can save years of regret. There will be days when your heart feels heavy, days when tears come without warning, days when you feel misunderstood. Those days are not a weakness. They are reminders to slow down, not to self-destruct. A woman who can sit with discomfort without running away is powerful. She doesn't numb herself. She doesn't distract herself. She doesn't lose herself. She processes, she reflects, she heals, and slowly something shifts. She no longer reacts emotionally to disrespect. She withdraws respectfully. She no longer begs for clarity. She notices consistency. She no longer explains her pain repeatedly. She changes her position. That is emotional maturity, and emotional maturity creates emotional peace. When your emotions obey your values, your life starts to align. This is not easy, but it is necessary. Because once you master your emotions, you reclaim your power. And from this power, the next lesson naturally rises. Learning when to stop overgiving to those who do not value you. Let us continue, because once you learn to master your emotions, your eyes open to a painful but liberating realization. Not everyone in your life deserves the same access to your energy. Many women don't suffer because they love too little. They suffer because they give too much to the wrong people. They give time to those who never make time. They give loyalty to those who are casually committed. They give forgiveness to those who feel no responsibility to change. And slowly exhaustion replaces joy. There is a quiet mistake soft-hearted women make. They assume everyone has the same heart as them. They think if I care enough, they will care back. They think if I explain myself one more time, they will understand. They think if I give a little more, things will improve. But life does not work on effort alone. It works on alignment. Some people are not confused, they are clear, just not invested. And the hardest lesson is this: you cannot give your way into being valued. Love is not proven by how much you sacrifice. Love is revealed by how much effort is reciprocated. A woman who constantly overgives starts losing touch with herself. She cancels her needs, she postpones her dreams, she silences her intuition, and one day she wakes up feeling empty, surrounded by people yet unseen. This is not because she was unlovable. It is because she forgot to include herself in the equation. There is a sacred balance in giving. Giving without expectation is noble, but giving without boundaries is self-betrayal. Ask yourself gently, without judgment: do they show up for me the way I show up for them? Do they respect my time, my emotions, my presence? Do they listen when I speak, or only when they need something? You don't need to accuse. You don't need to confront aggressively. Awareness alone is enough. A strong woman does not announce her withdrawal. She simply reduces her availability. She stops explaining herself repeatedly. She stops proving her loyalty. She stops chasing emotional closure from people who avoid accountability. This is not revenge, this is self-preservation. Remember this truth. People value what they earn, not what is handed to them freely without effort. When you give endlessly without discernment, your value gets diluted. Not because you are less, but because your energy is scattered. Your time is life, your attention is love, your presence is currency. Spend them where they are appreciated. Some people will notice the change and step up. Some will disappear. Let them. Those who disappear were never attached to you, only to what you provided. This is where guilt tries to enter. Guilt says, you're being selfish. Wisdom replies, I'm being selective. Guilt says, what if they need you? Wisdom replies, what about when I needed them? You are allowed to outgrow roles that drain you. You are allowed to stop being the emotional caretaker for everyone. You are allowed to choose peace over people pleasing. A woman who stops overgiving does not become less loving. She becomes more intentional. She gives where there is respect. She invests where there is effort. She nurtures relationships that nourish her back, and something beautiful happens. She has more energy, more clarity, more joy, because energy saved from the wrong places becomes fuel for the right ones. She begins to show up fully, not exhausted, present, not resentful, loving, not depleted. Overgiving often comes from fear. Fear of abandonment, fear of conflict, fear of being misunderstood. But strength teaches you a deeper truth. If someone leaves because you stopped overgiving, they were never staying for you. You do not need to drain yourself to keep anyone. The right people will meet you halfway. They will not make you beg for consistency. They will not make you feel guilty for having needs. Stop pouring into cups that have holes. Turn that love inward. Strengthen your spirit. Protect your peace. Because when a woman learns where to give and where to stop, she does not lose relationships. She loses illusions. And that loss creates space for the next lesson. Learning when silence is wisdom, and when silence becomes self-erasure. Let us move forward, because now you stand at a delicate crossroads, the space between silence as wisdom and silence as surrender. Many women pride themselves on being calm, patient, and quiet. And truly, silence can be powerful. It can prevent unnecessary conflict. It can protect peace. But silence without courage slowly turns into submission. I have met women who say, I don't like confrontation. What they often mean is, I'm afraid of losing people. So they swallow words. They suppress discomfort. They convince themselves that staying quiet is maturity. but deep inside, something aches. Unspoken pain does not disappear. It settles, it hardens, it turns into resentment. Silence should be a choice, not a reflex born from fear. There is a difference between being peaceful and being voiceless. A strong woman understands this difference. She doesn't argue unnecessarily. She doesn't explain herself endlessly. But when her dignity is questioned, she speaks, not with anger, not with insults, but with clarity. Speaking up does not make you aggressive, it makes you honest. Many women wait for the right moment to speak, and that moment never comes. They think, if I stay quiet now, things will improve. But silence does not heal disrespect. It only hides it. Boundaries are not walls, they are doors with rules, and rules must be communicated. People cannot respect limits they don't know exist. You cannot expect others to read your pain. You must learn to express it calmly, clearly, and firmly. This takes courage, because the moment you speak up, you risk being misunderstood. You risk disappointing someone. You risk losing approval. But here is the truth. Approval that costs your self-worth is too expensive. A woman who never speaks her truth eventually forgets what it sounds like. She becomes skilled at adjusting, but disconnected from herself. And when she finally explodes, people say, she changed. No, she woke up. Strength is not loudness. Strength is a grounded expression. You don't need to justify your boundaries with long explanations. You don't need to argue facts. You don't need to raise your voice. A simple, calm statement is enough. This doesn't work for me. I am not comfortable with that. I need respect in this situation. These sentences are small, but they carry weight. The first time you speak up, your voice may shake, your heart may race. Fear may whisper, what if they leave? Let them. Anyone who leaves because you spoke your truth was benefiting from your silence. Speaking up is not about controlling others. It is about honoring yourself. And something powerful happens when you do. Your posture changes. Your energy shifts. Your presence becomes firm. People may test you at first. That is normal. Boundaries are always challenged before they are respected, but once they realize you mean what you say, respect follows. Not because you demanded it, but because you embodied it. Silence is sacred when it comes from strength. Speech is sacred when it comes from truth. A strong woman knows when to remain quiet and when to speak despite fear. She does not confuse peace with avoidance. She does not confuse patience with tolerance. She chooses clarity over comfort. And this clarity becomes a compass. It guides her choices. It protects her spirit. It preserves her energy. Life will always test you. People will push limits. Situations will challenge your voice. Each time you must decide, will I protect the peace outside me or the peace within me? The answer defines your strength. And once a woman learns to speak when necessary, she begins to realize another truth, that growth requires discomfort. And comfort is often the enemy of her inner power. Comfort is soft. Comfort is familiar. Comfort whispers, stay where you are. It's safe here. But comfort is also deceptive. It does not warn you when it is slowly shrinking your potential. Many women remain in situations not because they are happy, but because leaving feels scary. They stay in relationships that drain them. They stay in roles that limit them. They stay in habits that numb them. Not because they don't feel the discomfort, but because they fear the unknown more than the known pain. Comfort keeps you quiet. Discomfort awakens you. Every version of strength you admire in others was forged in moments they did not feel ready. Discipline is uncomfortable. Saying no is uncomfortable. Choosing yourself is uncomfortable, but so is regret. There is a pain that builds you and a pain that breaks you. Comfort chooses the pain of stagnation. Growth chooses the pain of transformation. A soft woman avoids discomfort. A strong woman leans into it. Intentionally, she understands that growth is not dramatic. It is daily, quiet, unseen. It is waking up and doing the hard thing, even when motivation is absent. It is choosing structure over chaos, consistency over convenience, purpose over pleasure. Comfort says, rest more. Strength says, rest well, then rise. There is a difference. Rest that restores is wise. Rest that avoids responsibility is escape. A strong woman listens carefully to herself. She asks, am I tired or am I afraid? Am I resting or am I hiding? These questions require honesty. Comfort often disguises itself as self-care, but true self-care sometimes looks like discipline. It looks like boundaries. It looks like doing what you promised yourself you would do. Growth will ask you to let go of who you were, to become who you are meant to be, and letting go always feels uncomfortable. Your old habits will resist, your old patterns will pull you back, your old identity will feel familiar. But familiarity is not destiny. Strength is built when you choose discomfort in alignment with your values, going to the gym when you don't feel like it, studying when distraction feels easier, walking away when staying feels comfortable. Each choice trains your mind. Discomfort becomes less threatening. Confidence grows quietly. Self-trust deepens. A woman who keeps her promises to herself becomes unbreakable because she knows, if I can rely on myself, I can face anything. Comfort never builds resilience. Challenge does. Comfort never reveals strength. Resistance does. That is why life will push you, not to punish you, but to prepare you. Every challenge is asking, will you stay the same or will you rise? And rising does not require perfection. It requires courage. Small steps taken daily will always defeat comfort chosen repeatedly. There will be days you want to quit, days when comfort calls loudly, days when growth feels lonely. Those are the days that shape you, because strength is not built when things are easy. It is built when you choose progress despite discomfort. And slowly, something shifts. What once felt hard becomes normal. What once felt scary becomes familiar. What once felt impossible becomes part of who you are. Comfort loses its grip, and you realize the life you want exists just beyond the edge of ease. This understanding prepares you for the next truth. That faith is not passive waiting but courageous movement guided by trust. They think faith means waiting. They think faith means silence. They think faith means accepting whatever happens without resistance. But true faith is not passive. True faith is courage with trust. Faith is not sitting in the dark, hoping for light. Faith is taking a step, even when you cannot see the whole path. Many women say, I am leaving it to God. But what they often mean is, I am afraid to act. God does not reward paralysis. He supports movement. Faith was never meant to make you weak. It was meant to make you brave. Prayer is powerful, but prayer without action becomes escape. Action is powerful, but action without faith becomes ego. The balance between the two is where strength lives. A strong woman prays, and then she prepares, she asks for guidance, and then she walks. She trusts God, but she does not ignore her responsibility. Faith is not God doing everything for you. Faith is God working through you. When you move with faith, fear does not disappear, but it loses authority. Fear still whispers, but what if it fails? Faith responds, but what if it grows me? Fear says, what if I lose everything? Faith says, what if I gain wisdom? Faith does not promise comfort, it promises direction. There will be moments when obedience feels lonely, moments when doing the right thing feels unrewarded, moments when trusting God feels risky. Those moments are not signs of abandonment, they are invitations to maturity. A woman rooted in faith does not beg life for validation. She knows she is held. Even when unseen, this faith gives her a quiet confidence. She does not rush, she does not panic, she does not compare her journey with others. She knows that delay is not denial. She knows that rejection is often protection. She knows that detours are part of design. Faith allows her to stand firm without becoming rigid. When things fall apart, she does not fall with them. She bends, but she does not break. She asks, "What is this teaching me? Where is this guiding me? Who am I becoming through this?" Faith transforms pain into purpose. It turns setbacks into lessons. It turns losses into redirection. It turns waiting into preparation. A woman with faith does not chase every opportunity. She discerns. She does not force doors. She listens. She understands that what is meant for her will not require self-betrayal. Faith also teaches surrender, not surrender to weakness, but surrender to wisdom beyond ego. Sometimes strength is walking away. Sometimes strength is staying patient. Sometimes strength starts over. Faith gives you the courage to choose what aligns, even when it costs comfort. And here is the deepest truth. Faith does not guarantee ease. It guarantees meaning. You may still feel tired. You may still feel unsure, but you will not feel lost because faith anchors you when emotions shake you. It steadies you when outcomes are uncertain. A strong woman leans on faith not to avoid life, but to face it with dignity. She understands that God's timing is not slow, it is precise. What is delayed is often being refined, including you. When you walk with faith, you stop forcing outcomes and start the trusting process. You do your part sincerely, and then you release the rest. This does not make you careless, it makes you peaceful, because you know no effort done with sincerity is ever wasted. Faith frees you from desperation. It replaces it with devotion, and devotion creates power. This power prepares you for the final truth, that as you grow stronger, you must stop apologizing for it. Let me leave you with a truth that is simple, eternal, and deeply powerful. You were not created to disappear in the name of kindness. You were not created to shrink so others could feel comfortable. You were not created to carry the weight of everyone else while neglecting your own soul. God placed strength inside you for a reason. Do not apologize for growing. Do not feel guilty for choosing peace. Do not doubt yourself for setting boundaries. Kindness is your gift, but courage is your responsibility. Faith is your anchor, but action is your offering. Softness is your beauty, but strength is your calling. Remember this always. When you walk with faith, you don't need approval. When you live with discipline, you don't fear discomfort. When you respect yourself, the world adjusts. Life will test you, people will misunderstand you, paths will feel uncertain, but stay rooted, because a woman who trusts God, honors herself, and walks forward with courage does not just survive life, she becomes a blessing through it. Walk gently, stand firmly, and never forget you are not becoming hard, you are becoming whole.